The heroes of America's wars are those who serve, and Black Americans have served this country in all of its wars. The greatest generation not complete without the many black veterans of World War II. They served, even though back at home the enemy they couldn't defeat was racism.
Okay, are you there, Uncle Jake?
Okay.
One of my heroes is my Uncle John Dukes, my mother's brother, one of 10. He has survived all his siblings and has a clear memory of his time serving America.
I went in the service, and I think it was May of 1948. That's a long time ago. It ain't too many old veterans around my age, you know that? 93 years old? Whoa.
Uncle Jake tells me he got his draft papers during World War II, but when he was to leave, the fighting ended. The war was over. But he volunteered to join the Army because, as he tells it, it was hard for a black man to earn a decent living during the 1940s. So just out of his teens, he left his mom and family in Jersey City, New Jersey, and Harlem, New York. The year was 1948, and he was all in.
I took my training in Fort Dix, New Jersey. They gave us our basic training, you know, so that we would be in good shape, you know.
In top shape, a young black man in his early 20s, he left the States for a special assignment in Germany. Uncle Jake was sent to Nuremberg.
This is the Gaumont British News. The trial at Nuremberg.
I was in Rifle Guard platoon in Nuremberg, and at that time we had Hitler's number 2 and 3 men in the jail, so I used to put guard duty over them, you know.
Uncle Jake says black soldiers guarded the jails where the suspects in the notorious Nuremberg war crimes were held. They were on trial, Hitler's men, for the atrocities of the murders of the Jews. An international military tribunal oversaw the trial and laid out the charges.
Much of the evidence to be offered in this case will illustrate the Nazi conspirators' continued espousal and exploitation of this master race doctrine.
As the world prosecuted Nazis and my uncle's unit guarded the Nazi suspects, he was always reminded America's racism was never far behind.
I was in Germany, but I was in an all-black unit then, you know, the races with the Ku Klux Klan in the South and all that. So we had separated like all black units. Guess who was one of my commanders before I came back?
Who?
Eisenhower. He was a 1-star when he came to Germany, and when he left there around the same time I left in 1954. He was a 5-star general.
Uncle Jake got more stripes, too. He became a sergeant after guarding the Nazis. He returned to serve the remainder of his re-enlisted time in the States.
And when I came back to the States, you know, your grandmother she was still sick, and she died 1 year, so I was glad I was there to be able to see her and be with her for the last year of her life.
He was also a black soldier with rank, 5 stripes, back on American soil.
I was over all the wives that was in my company, you know.
And in America, especially with soldiers from the South, that wasn't gonna fly.
After I made sergeant, I was sergeant when I came back to the States. And being in the South, I was sergeant of the headquarters company, and they were all mostly white. They didn't want that, so they sent me to food service to go and fix it.
So instead of guarding prisoners, he was put in charge of food services, the mess hall, he says, to satisfy the whites, who also didn't like how women found it hard to resist a black man in uniform.
They didn't like us with the, you know, being with the Fraulein, the white girls, you know. They couldn't stand to see black guys with white girls, you know.
But when Uncle Jake thinks back about 70 years, there are fond memories, especially when black soldiers spent leave time in Louisiana.
This is where the blues is born, in New Orleans.
We had some good times when we used to go to our own club, you know, where they had dancing music and jazz, you know. Oh boy, we used to party, you know.
Uncle Jake knows night will come soon. Not only are all his siblings gone, his beloved wife, my Aunt Ina, and 2 of his children gone as well. He is surrounded by his surviving children. He lives with his daughter, Marcia. He is a grandfather and is adored by his many nieces and nephews. Our hero. He embodies the power of American blacks in uniform serving with honor everywhere they went in the world.
We didn't take no whole lot of crap from nobody, you know. And we were tough, you know.
I'm Vanessa Tyler for The Black Perspective on the Black Information Network.